You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Fell. So the last place we left off, well, things aren't looking too good for Wes here, but he did end up meeting a new friendly face, Marsh, a handsome new wolf companion who looks like he's leading him out of danger. But anyway, guys, let's jump right back into it, and let's see if there's a little bit of positivity to be found. Like there's maybe a silver lining somewhere. Hope his friends got out at least. I want to see more of Ash and Arrow. Anyway, here we go, guys. Oh god, the water! It's so loud! Here we go, okay. Is that my satchel? I ask, almost whining as I pick up my pace and get a closer look at the bag resting at the wolf's side. With all the insanity, I completely forgot about it, when it was part of a problem that seemed bigger at the time. Oh yeah! Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, he says, spitting and taking it off in one motion before continuing. I put it on to make carrying you a little less awkward. I meant to give it back to you when you woke up, but I kind of forgot. You can carry it if you want. My breathing hastens as I stare at the bag. My gift from... No. I can't keep thinking about that right now. No, just... You can hold on to it for now. Even in saying this, I feel my fingertips twitch from the desire to reach out and grasp it. He gives me a knowing nod and turns away, slipping it back over his shoulder and moving the bag portion more towards his front side, likely in an effort to keep me from dwelling on it. Silence consumes us for several moments afterward as we continue on, but Marsh pipes up once more before it gets too awkward. Door's still open to ask me any questions you might have. Oh, right, sorry. Well, the only one I can think of is, who are you? What do you mean? I don't know. I've just never met a wolf before. And you said you live not too far from here? Do you live in Port Haven? I cringe, almost immediately realizing that he can't have been talking about Port Haven. If I remember correctly, that's at least 2 days away now on foot. There's no way we'd make it before sunrise. Oh no, I live in Othico. It's due west of here, off near the Westwood Lake. Othico? I don't recognize that name. Is it newly established? I don't think so. I would guess it would depend on your definition of new. I think it goes back about 8 generations, maybe more. Weird. I think I would know of a town just a few hours away. Maybe it's just too small to be marked on a map or something like that. Oh, don't worry, though. It's cozy and safe. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And in the morning we can figure out what to do. As he finishes speaking, I look back down at my feet and think, Westwood Lake? That name doesn't sound familiar either. I mean, there is a lake out this way. I've been there a few times with air... My heart sinks as I think about the goat, and now I'm thinking about everything again. I just tell myself to breathe and try to get lost in moving again, and luckily I'm able to. Some time passes, and every now and then glimpses of Dewhurst flutter through my mind, but I do my best to shove them away and not think of them. Let me say, yes, there we go, okay. I'm not sure how long we've been walking for now, but I know my feet are starting to ache from the hike. I glance up from the ground and look at the back of my guide, but the absence of a certain monotonic noise catches my attention, and I look off to the right. Sure enough, the stream we were following is nowhere to be found. I glance back towards the wolf's back and think, and something just feels off. My fur bristles as more questions fill my head, my legs slow and eventually halt. The wolf follows suit, stopping and turning back towards me. Everything okay? We aren't too far out now. We can take a little rest if you want. Wesley? I'm trying to think. My body instinctively takes a few steps back as I speak. Question him. Yeah, let's question him. How do I know you're not deceiving me or something? Deceiving you? What are you talking about? Just, what do you gain out of helping me? And you said that the people that did this could be nearby, but how do I know you weren't involved? He stares at me and frowns deeply at my accusation. Half of me wants to turn and run. The other half desperately wants to be able to trust him. Listen, I get that you're paranoid, I really do, but just think about it. If I was trying to hurt you, I would have already done it. We both know I can easily overpower you. His eyes widen, he stiffens up. Not that I'll ever do that again. I didn't mean to. I was just scared that you would be too loud and... No, it's okay. I know what you mean. I know he's right about that, not to mention something about him just seems oddly harmless. I let a deep sigh and run my paws over my mask. The stress of the situation is just starting to overwhelm me again. Sorry, I'm just on edge right now. A lot of things at once, you know? Hard to imagine any of it being okay. Marsh's expression softens at this, and his shoulders relax a little, though not entirely. The bristled fur on his neck starts to flatten out, which he speeds up by raising a paw up and fidgeting with it. Yeah, I get it. There's going to be a lot of adjusting to, whatever this is. If it makes you feel better, I'm playing this by ear, too. He takes a few cautious steps towards me before continuing. How about this? Once we get to my house, we can sit down and I'll tell you everything that happened leading up to you waking up. Is that fair? I just look down and nod, feeling a little guilty for basically accusing him of being involved in what happened. But he doesn't seem to hold it against me. Okay then, I think at this point we're only a few minutes away. Are you good at keeping up? Are you good to keep going? Again, all I have to offer is a nod with that, and with that, he turns and starts walking, though he starts off slowly and glances back at me a few times as he goes. I think he genuinely just wants me to be okay, but for some reason I can't wrap my head around that. I'm just a stranger with blood on my paws. I wonder if he was apprehensive when he first saw me. I wonder if he thought that I was the one who attacked Mac. I do my best to cut off that line of thought and decide that I had better just wait for that explanation he offered. It'll be better to hear what happened on his end rather than just to speculate. My mind is too messy right now anyway. I shouldn't be trying to work through the things on my own. I'm still in a bit of a fog as well. Oh, literally. Wait. I take a look at the surrounding woods and notice a fog begin to roll in. Or maybe it had always been foggy? I focus my gaze back on Marsh and debate whether or not to ask about it, and my curiosity gets the better of me. So, kind of foggy, right? Huh, yeah, just a bit, but don't worry. He stops just before the cusp of the growing density of it to face me once again. I'm not, it feels like it came out of nowhere. It's fine, off it goes should be right on the other end of this fog. He half turns to face it when his ears and tail perk up in recollection of something. Oh, and once we get through, don't talk until we're inside that way. Don't talk until we're inside that way, or that way our voices don't carry and wake everyone. My house is the small one toward the edge of the village. I'll point it out when it comes into view. Oh, okay, I got it. Without another word, he moves forward and is taken almost immediately by the milky wall in front of me. I take a step back in surprise and hesitate a few moments until I'm able to make out an outstretched paw in the hazy air. There's nothing to worry about. Just trust me. Easier said than done. It feels like I'm walking into a fantasy land only heard in passing by the local fishermen. I stare at the wolf's paw for a few moments before glancing backward, getting one last look at the obscured forest and returning my gaze back to the paw. Nowhere to go now, but forward, I guess. I grasp his soft paw in mine, shivering at the warmth and allow it to lead me to whatever lies ahead. Slowly but surely, as we walk paw in paw, I'm able to see more and more of what's in front of me. First, Marsh comes into view, and then... Oh, it's a nice little quaint little village. Before me, about a dozen or so homes materialize under the now clear night sky. A said home, similar to the stone ones of Port Haven, looks to have been settled in the earth for years. Vines and other various shrubbery can be seen growing through the foundations themselves, almost as if to hold the homes together. The natural dirt path between them has numerous paw prints, with little to no sign of carriage tread to be seen, uncharacteristic of most villages, or at least a few I've been in. At the center of it all is a large clearing that looks to be a place of gathering with a small pyre. All that adds up to a dwelling that the forest has accepted into itself over time rather than overtaking it entirely. Something about it just feels calming, like I can almost breathe the air properly for the first time since waking up. Once we fully make it out of the fog, Marsh releases my paw. His eyes meet mine and he raises a finger to his maw, reminding me to keep quiet. He signals for me to look off back into the sleepy little village and points towards a small cottage near the edge of the clearing. I give him a thumbs up, showing that I understand which one he means, and we begin making our way forward, slowly creeping through the little town and off to Marsh's home. The large building to our left holds my attention as we advance forward. It almost reminds me of the community center in Dewhurst. Maybe it holds a similar purpose for the folks who live here. I put a pin in that thought and return my attention to moving forward, turning my head just in time to see the wolf speed up and reach the front of the small building before me. He glances back at me before opening the door and motioning me inside, and I do my best to pick up the pace. Once I step through the doorway, I take in my new surroundings with a bit of intrigue. The first thing that strikes me is just how similar it is to my bedroom back home, small yet cozy. There are several books strewn along the floor here and there, with the one in particular open to a picture of a place I can't quite make out. Random plants decorate the small space, leaving the room smelling a bit earthy. Not in an off-putting way, though. The fireplace at the center of the wall opposite the door sits dormant. Dull, ash-covered logs that look freshly burnt lay within. At the far end of the room is a reasonably sized bed that has a small indent in it with a thick pillow on top of some hefty-looking sheets. Marsh steps past me to the window, leans over the table and peers out, his eyes dancing over the village for a few moments. Every now and then his tail rises and lowers. After his gazing concludes, he fixes his eyes on me and gives me a sort of goofy half smile. "You! Okay, we made it. We can sit and talk now," he says, kneeling down in front of the table, pulling out 2 cushions from underneath, placing them on either end of the short table and sitting on the one furthest from me. I step forward and match him, kneeling down and sitting on the cushion with my legs crossed, taking a moment now to stretch and lean my body up against the table and the wall for extra comfort. The wolf's smile seems to settle into a more earnest expression, but it's interrupted shortly by widened eyes. "Oh yeah, almost forgot." He lifts his arm and takes the strap of the satchel off before offering it up to me. I stare at it for a moment, then close my eyes, barely able to handle looking at it, and only now realizing how tired I am from everything. "I can't right now. It's not something I really want to think about." There's a small bout of silence that hangs in the air, and guilt begins to seep into me. I know he's just trying to help, but... "Well, at least take this." "Oh." My eyes open just in time to see the wolf digging in the satchel, which makes emotions stir inside me. But before I have the chance to act on them, he pulls out a small jar from within. It takes me a second to realize what it is, but when I do, I don't know how to react. It's a tea blend. It's my tea blend. A Max tea blend. When I found you with your dad, he was fighting really hard. I tried to explain that I was there to help. I put pressure on his neck, but he just shook his head real slowly and looked at you. He pointed behind me to something on a table, so I got up and brought it back to him. But when I tried to give it to him, he just pushed it into my chest and looked back at you, then he was gone. I grip my teeth and tears roll down my face as he speaks, but I manage to not fully break down. I know Mac wouldn't want that. "I'm guessing this means something to you, then?" Marsh asks gently, offering me the jar. My paw raises and I rub the smooth glass of the jar. My fingers slowly find their way around the jar and I take it from the wolf. "Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's a medicinal tea blend. It was his gift to me for my birthday." My voice rises an octave on that last word as I process what Marsh has just said. The last thing Dad thought about was my sleep issues. Even in his final moments, he never stopped looking out for me. I look at the jar for a few more moments before offering it back to Marsh and using my free paw to rub away the welling tears from my eyes. "Thanks for, everything, but could you put that back for now?" He nods and takes the jar from me gently, but hesitates on putting it away. His eyes meet with mine, then dart away and bounce around the room for a few moments. "Would you mind if I..." He trails off and places another paw on the lid of the jar, miming an opening gesture. I think about it for a second before answering. "Oh, sure, I don't mind, I guess." The moment I answer, the lid is fully unscrewed and the wolf's muzzle is at the mouth of the small container, sniffing away. If circumstances weren't what they were, I might find this kind of cute. After he's done, he lifts his head and speaks. "Oh wow, this is some good stuff. Lavender, chamomile." He brings his snout back to the tea and inhales deeply. And spearmint too, if I'm not mistaken. What do you have, sleep issues or body aches?" he asks, looking up at me curiously with his head cocked. All I can do in response is stare at him, maw gaped. You okay?" "Yeah, you nailed it, sleep issues. Just not so much on the body aches, though. Are you a big tea drinker too or something?" "Sometimes, but it's more so that I have training in the usage of the local herbs. I'm the shaman here in Othico." He takes a moment to screw the lid back on the jar and slips it back into the satchel. "So it's my job to help everyone with anything they might need, whether it be in body, mind, spirit, or otherwise." "What counts as otherwise?" "No, you're not calling me right now. Send me a text." There you go. Okay. A lot, really. Watching pups during hunts, communication with fallen ancestors, lack of rain, desires to share with the moon, and other stuff like that. My heart twinges when he says that bit about fallen ancestors, but I quickly realize it's likely just one of those religious things, so I decide not to get my hopes up. Even still, that doesn't mean I'm not curious about everything else he said. I blink a few times and await an explanation, but he just waits for me to respond, so I readjust myself and express my confusion. Desires to share with the moon? Wait, how do you help with lack of rain?" "Oh, that's kind of a long explanation. Wouldn't you rather talk about what we discussed earlier? I can make us a snack, and I'll tell you about everything leading up to it when you woke up, just like I promised," he says, smiling softly at me as he rises to his feet and heads off towards the bed before tucking the satchel between it and the wall. I think about the options and stretch, only now noticing how worn out my body is, and as I do so, the wolf returns and yawns as he takes his seat on the floor. Actually, for one, I don't think I could eat anything without hurling at the moment. And secondly, I'm actually getting really tired. A yawn interrupts me this time, almost as if on cue, but once it concludes, I finish the thought. So, how about we discuss everything tomorrow? This idea seems to disappoint Marsh slightly, but eventually he smiles and nods, getting back up to his feet and offering me a paw up, which I accept. Well, if you're sure, then we can head on to the bed. And once you wake up tomorrow, we'll have breakfast and talk about whatever you want. Is there anything you need before you sleep? Maybe some water? I think for a moment about the prospects of a drink as I get to my feet. I am a little thirsty, but it can definitely wait till morning. I don't want to bother the wolf any more than I already have. Right now, I really just want to feel warm and cozy. My eyes drift off behind Marsh to the twin bed in the corner, and a realization dawns over me. Marsh's eyebrow raises as he follows my gaze. Looking back and seeing the small Betty returns my gaze, seeming to understand what I was thinking. Ah, bed's all yours, my friend. But what? No, I couldn't take your bed from you. You've just had the worst birthday imaginable. I'm not going to allow you to make it worse by sleeping on the floor. As I said, it's my job to make sure everyone in the village is well in the body. That includes visitors. Or refugees, I guess. As he responds, I think about that word. Refugee. I hate how close it is to fitting. I shake away the thought and take a few steps past Marsh towards his bed. It feels wrong to take it from him, but it feels wrong to refuse such a kind gesture. Are you sure? I don't want to be more of an inconvenience than I already am. I ask with a frown, now feeling like I'm intruding a bit too far into the wolf's space, but he raises his paws in an insistent manner. I'm extremely sure. Don't worry about intruding. Seriously, I fall asleep on the floor on my own sometimes anyways. If you wake up and need anything at all, don't hesitate to wake me up as well, okay? Okay. I reply softly as I take a seat on the wolf's soft mattress. It feels a little shoddily made, but even so, it feels amazing, and I immediately lean back and let my back relax against the soft sheets. A chuckle sounds from below me, followed by some quiet shuffling along the floor. I think for a few moments and lean up to see the wolf arranging cushions on the ground. I take the opportunity to speak. Really, thank you. It's no problem. You deserve a good rest. No, I mean, like, for everything. I know you didn't have to carry me out of Dewhurst, or bring me here, or help me at all. You're a good person, Marsh. His eyes light up as I say this, and for a moment he almost looks as if he might cry, but instead he looks away and thinks, I don't think I deserve that yet. We still have a lot to figure out. No, even though we aren't quite out of the woods yet, that doesn't mean you haven't helped me immensely. Marsh lays there with silence hanging between the two of us. When next he speaks, it's in a more subdued tone mixed with a yawn. When you're called upon to be kind, you shouldn't hesitate to answer. I've only done what most would have. I glance over at him to see him settling into his makeshift space on the floor. Anyways, good night, and may the moon guide you to sleep. Before I can think of something to say in response, Marsh is already snoozing away with sleepy snores escaping his muzzle. For a few moments I watch him, focusing on the rhythmic movements of his chest rising and falling. When I'm sure he's fast asleep, I let out a soft huff and allow the suffocating feeling in my chest to release. In the quiet of night, there's nothing to chase away the creeping thoughts that overtake my mind. Everything is going to change now. With no home to go back to and no family to look to, I've got to do this alone as best I can. Tears roll down my cheeks as the weight of everything rushes to me all at once. My paws move up to wipe away to wipe any that breach my mask as I try in vain to calm myself down. Despair forms like a deep chasm in my chest the more I think about what I've lost. For the first time in my life, tomorrow seems like a far-off wish with uncertainty around every corner. I just want to go home. Alright, I'm going to save it right here, guys. Hopefully there's a bit more left. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been an episode of Fell. Quite enjoying this. But anyway, guys, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!